having said demonstrating value is increasingly important, I think there are important steps we need to take across the life cycle that will help us change that value dialogue. And again, I think Lars mentioned some really interesting points in relation to this. So I think it's about very early on from phase 2, phase 3 is building a foundation of learning about your patients, learning about the treatment regimes, learning about their experiences managing and living with that condition. And then using that to inform early engagement we might have with a wider stakeholder group about unmet patient needs, using patient language, not just disease prevalence. They can then also help us to understand some more of the practical access barriers, both the big system ones that we're all aware of, but also the practical everyday activities. And then building those insights and other things into delivering a real-world evidence program that proves value on a wider set of measures. And those wider set of measures need to be relevant to patients, to clinicians, and we also know to payers. So as you think about meaningful data, Lars was talking earlier about patient-reported outcomes as one of the ways in which we can do more to measure and understand the patient experience. So we need to look at not just patient-reported outcomes, but we can also look at things like measurements of patient activities, things that patients do. We can look at observations from others, whether they be carers, whether they be other people in healthcare systems. They can be anyone that can help us get wider observations for patients, and not forgetting that clinician-reported outcomes and clinician-reported observations are also important here. So we can develop different measures that will enable us to look at how we measure that patient experience. Now, finding new ways to gather that data and new instruments, this is where we come back to the issue of digitisation, because that clearly is going to be assistance here, because we're not going to be short of data. I think, as I reflected yesterday in my session on stage, I think the issue is going to be not getting lost in all of that data and being really clear about the insights you drive from that and the analytics that you do around this. But certainly, technology is driving our enhanced abilities to do survey data, to bring together secondary data, and now to develop new data sources such as social media wearables and all those other devices that go with this. So digitisation is going to create the ability to collect more of that data, and we need to be clever in determining the patient-centric measures that we want to build and generate through those data sources.